You might laugh at me, but oftentimes when I'm like getting ready to, start recording, I'll of course, sometimes press the record button before I'm actually like ready, just as like a little precursor, depending on what I'm doing. But I just finished working out, literally not even 5 minutes ago. Showered and got ready, and I was sitting here putting my shirt on, and I almost started recording before I of my routine. Welcome back, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Hope you're having a great day. I'm still catching my breath from my workout just a little bit ago. Finished stretching, jumped in the shower, soaped up, dried down, and now we are here listening to a little bit more from Ofra Haza. I'm very, very excited to dive into this one a little bit more from her. We're checking out this track, and excuse me if I mispronounce the title, Nin'alu. And we're going to be listening to the Played in Full mix, the 7-inch English mix here. This is going to be coming off of kind of an album, her album Yemenite Songs, which I can tell, released in 1984. But this seems this mix, this single, was released in 88, I think. I'm getting kind of conflicting information, so I'm not quite sure. But either way, we're checking it out, as this was suggested and sponsored by Floor. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for sending in the request. I really liked what we heard previously from Miss Ofra. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this track stacks up here. So let's go ahead and dive straight on in. We'll discuss it, of course, right after. Here we go. Nin'alu. Gorgeous vocals, man. Love that synth bass, man. Kind of like the previous track. Such a gorgeous marriage of culture and decade. What a fun and dense listen that is. Man, she just has such a phenomenal sound. I'm really happy for the introduction into her music. So even this, kind of like with Phantasmagor, even like with the previous track, like this is very much a beautiful marriage of the cultural aspect of her music, and then steeply and deeply connected with the decades. This is, of course, very 80s. You got that synth bass, bop, 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 the big drum sounds, and some of those that 80s production magic on top of it all. But absolutely like connected to the cultural aspect when it comes to the some of the instrumentation. Absolutely, her vocals, which are like just deeply engaging and captivating to listen to. You know, the beautiful harmonies or the way that she melodically wails in the song. The I can't do it, but the like, you know, just that kind of calling out in such a beautiful way is gorgeous to listen to. And then the way that, you know, besides those parts where she just kind of lets her voice vibe with the music in a very 80s almost dance party kind of style. Like it's just a really great way of combining every single aspect of the music. I like the way that it begins too. Here in the beginning of it, with kind of just the little opening that, you know, no music involved there, just the strong vocals kind of in beautiful isolation, and then slowly the rhythm comes in, and of course everything else kind of comes with it. But I like how kind of like with Fata Morgana, I don't know, I was thinking Phantasmagoria. Kind of like with that, it starts off deeply to me in the cultural aspect, right? And then everything else kind of wanders on in and everything else begins to be included. You know, because I like the percussion, how bare it is here. Obviously it's electronic, but and then we're building up to it. And then the drums come in first. You have those sampled vocals here. Like eventually we start to really work our way into that. We're beginning to knead the dough of the 80s pop music here. But once again, never losing that flavor inside the bread. And it becomes such a dense listen as well. Like, I'm actually really curious. I want to see who's producing this particular track, because it sounds like a track that could have been produced by, you know, someone like I don't know, a Trevor Horn or a Thomas Dolby, or, you know, it just sounds like it has their kind of sound. But in looking at it, I do not see either of those people mentioned here in the production. That seems to be produced by Bezalel Aloni and Izhar Ashdot, from what I can kind of tell looking at it. But really a beautiful, beautiful song, and such a fun listen to. And it's one of those tracks that, and there's lots of music like this all around the world, one of those tracks that you can listen to it as, to me, almost as the evolution and a natural progression of, you know, some sort of traditional type of music, and just bringing it into whatever century, or I should say decade, I should say, that is taking place culturally in global music. So I think that's one of the beautiful ways of looking at world music. You know, music that is not just culturally identifiable, but also deeply progressive in the way that it's approached. Not just playing perhaps the more traditional way of it, but pushing forward in a way. I think that that's a really sensational way to move the music, and I think that this with Miss Haza is absolutely fantastic. So looking at it, I mean, it did say, of course, on the screen that this is the English version. We have some Hebrew and some English here in the mix, of course, which we'll translate here shortly. But you know I love you like no other in my prayer. Take me away, I need your help. Somebody cries within the herd. Oh my God, I need your help. And it goes on from there. So let me press the translation button here, see if we can get that. Okay, it worked on your end. If my doors are closed, Generous runs, the doors of heaven will not be closed. If they are closed, to the living. If they are closed to the living. You know I love you like no other. We heard that part. Animals that are willing and returning from the day of creation are included. If they are closed to the living, if they are closed. Now, 6 wings, they fly around when they roll. God is alive, God is alive. If we are locked, God is alive. Like if we are safe within this shelter, within this place of refuge. Let's look at some of the information here. It does say that Nin'alu, if the gates are locked, is a Hebrew poem by 17th century Rabbi Shalom Shabazi. It is set to music and sung by Israeli singer Ofra, Haza, and others. Haza first performed this song with the, I'm going to try, Sheshunat Hatikva Workshop Theater, appearing on television on IBA's General Television in 78. The original version was included on the 84 album Yemenite Songs, also known as 50 Gates of Wisdom, and a remix version, part of her international debut album, was released in 88. Perhaps that's where we've heard this version. Maybe this is where this one's coming from. Don't quote me. Maybe, maybe not. This track went on to become famous in Europe when a remixed version of the song, produced by Izhar Ashdod, reached the top 10 in many countries. It stayed 9 weeks atop the singles charts in several countries as well. In the UK, it was a top 20 hit, peaking at number 15. And the US, it reached number 15 as well. Yeah, on the Hot Dance Club Party. Yeah, this is a very danceable track. Are you kidding? The single reportedly sold some 3 million copies worldwide, making it one of the first world music recordings to extend over to mainstream pop chart success. Even though Haza's version of the song shows her own interpretation and its reception was present day and popular, it still fits in with the Yemenite tradition that she represented. In 97, she re-recorded the track for her album Ofra Haza, produced by Frank Peterson of Enigma. And it goes on from there. The international follow-up single in 88 was a remix of the track Galbi, also originally from Yemenite Songs. And of course, here's the poem, the translation here. Even if the gates of the rich are closed, the gates of heaven will never be closed. That makes more sense. That makes more sense now with that direct translation. And of course, you have your chart positionings here. Austria, number 2, Belgium, 14, Denmark and Canada, 6, and 1 in Europe, Finland, Greece, Norway, Portugal, Spain, Switzerland, and West Germany. Let me know what you guys thought of that fantastic track in the comments down below. I really appreciate the support and the request. Your Floor, thank you so much. That was a fantastic listen. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day, morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever it may lie, wherever it may proceed. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.